Good morning. We are going to get started. I'm Israel Rivera, the proud principal of the new Jose Jome Elementary. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day for a celebration. It's my honor to welcome you to Jose Jome Elementary School, home of the Mighty Mighty Mavericks. I want to acknowledge our superintendent, Dr. Michael Hinojosa, our trustees, our district leaders, and all elected officials who have joined us today. Thank you for coming out today to pay tribute to a great man and a great school. Everyone, please join me in welcoming the family of the late Jose Jome. We are so pleased that his sister, Eliza May, and other family members are here for this occasion. This ceremony joins our schooling community together in pride to honor the memory of a remarkable public servant. The staff, students, and parents of the new Jose Jome Elementary School have experienced a great start to the new school year. A tough one, but it's been great. We are very excited about our new school, and we're making good use of every square inch of this exceptional facility. And here shortly, we'll give some tours for everyone to see what's going on in the classrooms and throughout the building. Speaking of parents and staff, I have to take a moment to recognize our fantastic parents, some of them who are here, and one of the most energetic and dedicated faculties of Dallas ISD. So if you're a faculty, just please wave your hand so everybody knows who you are. These guys have been amazing in helping us have a great start to the school. Many are hard at work right now in the classrooms helping our students learn. But I also want to recognize our parents. So if any parents are here, please stand so we can recognize you. So we're going to do the intro to our flag presentation. As the program moves forward, our students will learn more about the achievements of our school's remarkable namesake, and our audience will enjoy a sample of talents of our students and teachers. As we begin our ceremony this morning, please stand for the presentation of the flags and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Thank you to the Junior ROTC Color Guard of our neighborhood middle school, Francisco Pancho Medrano, across the street, directed by Sergeant Michael Norton. Let's give them another hand. Our first speaker is District 8 Board Trustee Miguel Solis. First elected in 2013, Mr. Solis is a young powerhouse and a great advocate for district students. A former teacher, he has served in several board leadership positions and has worked alongside his fellow trustees and city officials to represent this community. We appreciate him and his devotion to service. Mr. Solis will be followed by another leader whom we hold in high esteem. Superintendent Michael Hinojosa is a graduate of Dallas ISD, a former teacher and coach, and now our esteemed leader for a second tenure. We're so proud to welcome him to our school for this momentous occasion, and we're looking forward to hearing from him. But first, please welcome Trustee Miguel Solis.
Well, before I begin my remarks, I would like to make sure that we're all blessed because today is a great event in honor of a great man. And so I'd like to quickly introduce Dr. Owen Ross, who's the pastor of La Fundición de Cristo, for our invocation. Pastor Ross.
I am honored to be here. I've worked with Joe, with David G. Burnett Elementary School through the PTA and working with the community, and so I'm especially honored to be here at this podium this morning to offer the invocation. Will you join me in prayer? To the eternal God, we come today to both celebrate the past and give honor to one of your servants who served this community. We thank you for his life, for his service, and now for this school that bears his name. As we look to the future, we ask that you utilize this school, the administrators, the staff, the teachers, to form these young lives for the future. This is a place of education as well as a place of formation. We ask you, Lord, to use this area, this space, to form these young people, to create a kinder, fairer world. I ask your blessing, Lord, upon those who come through these doors, upon those who come to serve, those who come to receive, those who come to volunteer. And we ask this all in your name. Amen.
Good morning. It's still morning, that's right, just making sure. I'd like to first greet the students of Joe May, the parents of Joe May Elementary, the staff members of Joe May, and last, but certainly absolutely not least, the brand new, last but certainly not least, the family of Joe May. Let's give the family of Joe May a round of applause. They have come from near and far to celebrate this historic occasion, and we're absolutely honored that you're in our presence today. I would also like to acknowledge my fellow trustees that serve with me on the Dallas ISD School Board. We've got President of the Dallas ISD Board, Mr. Dan Mitchke. First Vice President of the Board, Dr. Edwin Flores. DISD Trustee, Dr. Lou Blackburn. And I'd be remiss if I didn't honor also former DISD Trustee Elizabeth Jones, who helped quite a bit with Joe May. I don't think I'm missing any other current. Here, thanks, Evan. I appreciate it. All former and current elected officials of Dallas County, of North Texas, would you please rise so we can give all of you a round of applause? So this new school and today's dedication truly honors a great man who has known and it was known and respected for standing up and speaking out for those who could not stand up or speak up for themselves. Over the course of the past few years, I've had the opportunity to get to know Joe May through his family and through his friends. And when I think about the life of Joe May, there's a quote that continuously comes up in my mind. It's a quote from the British poet John Keats. And he said this, "None can usurp the heights, but those to whom the miseries of the world are a misery and will not let them rest." Here's how that relates to Joe May's life. Joe May was a true public servant who knew that the world needed to be better. Not just for him, but for everyone around him. And that in many cases, we lived in miserable times where children didn't get the education that he knew they needed to get, where our country needed to be safer, where freedom could truly reign great. And so I've learned a lot of lessons from Joe May's life. I just want to highlight 3 quick lessons. The first one is the importance of public service. Many of you know this, but for those of you that don't know, Joe was a true public servant in many forms. He served our country overseas in Vietnam. And he could have stopped his public service there, but he chose to get involved as a community leader and later on as a school board trustee. He gave many long hours to ensuring that our country, that our state, and that our community, our local community, was better. He is the truest form of a public servant. The second lesson that I've learned from Joe May's life is the importance of vision. Joe was known, and many people have confirmed this, for data, statistics, maps, and taking all the information that he learned from those things and creating a vision for the future. He was a big thinker. He was a savant in many ways. And the last lesson that I learned about Joe May, it's one thing to have a vision, but it's another thing to have persistence, grit, and determination to turn that vision into a reality. Google Joe May's name, and you'll learn that his visions were bold, and he was a fighter. He had to be, because in many cases, others may not have fought. And so I've learned a lot of lessons from Joe May's life, and I have the tremendous responsibility of serving in the same school board seat that he once served in. It's a responsibility that I don't take lightly, but students, I want you to know this. All of us, the new generation, have got to continue to build on the life and the legacy of Joe May, because there's still more work to be done. Joe May family, thank you very much for giving him to us for so many years. Now, there are many people who worked alongside Joe May and who would like to pay their respects. Several have letters, proclamations, and resolutions. And I just got a chance to speak with the family of Joe May. Senator Cornyn actually has a flag that was flown over the Capitol recently in honor of Joe May. So here's what I'm going to ask we do. If Senator Cornyn's office would come up to read their quick remarks and their flag, and then I'm going to ask all of the other individuals who've got the proclamations and resolutions after these remarks are done to come to the front so that we can have a picture, and then we're going to place those resolutions and proclamations right outside so that everybody as they walk out can see these resolutions and proclamations.
Thank you very much, Mr. Solis. In addition to the flag that was flown over the Capitol, I also have a quick letter from Senator Cornyn that I'd like to read. Dear friends, it is a pleasure to welcome all who have gathered here to honor Joe May. Although I'm unable to join you, I appreciate the opportunity to share a few words with you on this special occasion. Joe May was a Vietnam veteran, a community leader, and a visionary who worked tirelessly to help the less fortunate and advocated for public education. He was a strong voice for the Hispanic community on all levels through his work with the U.S. Equal Opportunity Commission, his time as a Dallas ISD trustee, and his service with LULAC. His legacy continues to stretch throughout the community as we gather today for the dedication ceremony. We hope that the students and guests present here today look to Jose as a role model for how to make their community a better place to live and thrive. This building will serve as a reminder to all of us that selfless service is essential to the growth of our communities. It is the virtue of service which we strive to fulfill each day. We will forever be impacted by Jose's legacy, and I'm confident that many more will continue to experience the benefit of his life's work. Sandy and I send our best wishes for a successful event. And here's the flag that was flown over the Capitol earlier this week, and I present it to Superintendent Hinojosa, Mr. Solis, the Dallas ISD trustees, and Principal Rivera. Thank you all very much.
So if we could have all elected officials, staff members, and community leaders who have proclamations and resolutions to please come to the front here. I'd like to be joined too by Superintendent Hinojosa and Principal Rivera so that we can take a quick photo, and then we'll present the resolutions in the back. The Joe May family would like to come up as well, please. And I've just been told that this is from State Representative Roberto Alonso. This flag flew over the state capitol as well in honor of Joe May. So thank you very much, Representative Alonso. Now it's my honor to introduce Superintendent Dr. Michael Hinojosa.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here and honoring Joe's legacy and memory. And I really want to thank the school board for providing a great day so Joe May can look all the way straight down here on a bright, sunshiny day from heaven about what's happening for this school and his namesake. If it had been raining, it would have been the superintendent's fault. But since it's sunshining, the board gets the credit. So, but that's the cost of doing business in my life. But I tell you what, Joe was a champion and a warrior. And those of us who knew and loved Joe, and I remember Edwin and Lou, Dr. Blackburn and Dr. Flores, we always got nervous when Joe pulled out those old glasses. And he could afford new glasses, but he always had a paper clip in his glasses so he could read. And he had all this data, and we all knew that we were in trouble because Joe was about to tell us all this stuff. And Joe was an amazing man. He had the things that Miguel said were accurate. But the biggest thing about Joe, he was courageous. He didn't have any fear in his body. From the time he was in Vietnam to the battles that he had to take on here in Dallas, whether he had to talk to Lou Dobbs, it didn't matter. Joe knew what he stood for and knew what he believed in, and he got action done. And he found a way to have information that would make his case so compelling that you just didn't even try to argue with Joe May because it was futile because he had done so much work and he was so passionate about how he did his work. And for some of us, you know, there are a few things. When you get old, like 60, like me, you start forgetting things. But I remember where I was when Kennedy got killed. I remember when I was superintendent in a smaller district when 9/11 happened. And I still remember when Lois Parrott called me to tell me that Joe May had passed away. And so there are some things that are just personal. And just the way Joe lived life and just the way he fought. Just like this building we had a lot of twists and turns to get to this building, Edwin Flores, ¿verdad? I mean, and Joe never did anything easy or normal. But the fact that, we had another property and got complex, but the fact that he was a warrior to the end. And now we've got the 2008 bond was finished on time, under budget, ahead of schedule, except for this. So I think Joe wanted to make the grand entry to close just like he always did. Joe was going to be the one that made this final. And then to be in this community, even more special, across from Medrano Middle School, of all things. It all, someone's up there watching and taking care of making sure all this kind of fits together. And we couldn't have scripted it any better. And for a veteran and for now United States Senator to recognize our guy Joe, who was a warrior, and for our parents to have access to this great facility, and we have Israel Rivera, a great principal, starting this school. It all just kind of came together. And that's why some of us take it a little personal. Ray and some of the issues that we were just, Anna and Renee, everybody, that we just kind of went through this journey together. and it is really a special celebration that we're here for Joe May. And the thing about it is, you can have a lot of honors and a lot of things bestowed on you, and you can get awards. But for little kids to have a school named after you, for little kids to say that I went to Joe May Elementary School, there is no greater, that's going to live generations and generations beyond what we all know. So I am very, very blessed to be able to come back to help celebrate the legacy of this great man who was such a warrior and really benefited our community and our students. So thank you very much for being here, and let's have a great day and celebrate.
Thank you, Mr. Solis, Dr. Hinojosa, and all the honorable elected officials for helping to make this day special for our community, staff, and students. Is there a representative for Congressman Cuellar here? Okay. We'll keep the agenda going. Students, I hope you are listening closely to this stellar lineup of elected officials. Who knows, but one day you may grow up to represent this community on the school board, the city council, or even in Congress. So we're so fortunate to have these public servants in our midst today to not only salute our school namesake, but to share a message of hope and encouragement to our students and families. We want our students to see firsthand that elected leadership is about caring for your community. That is certainly true for our next speaker. City of Dallas Mayor Pro Tem Monica Alonso brings both skill and passion to her job as a representative for the community on the Dallas City Council. She is deeply involved in this community and is a role model for our young ladies who want to grow up to be strong leaders. Thank you for being here, and welcome the Honorable Mayor Pro Tem Monica Alonso.
Thank you, Principal Rivera. I don't know if you know what the R stands for, pero yo también soy Rivera. No relation, pero we made it happen. Muy buenos días, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, principalmente los niños y los papás. Qué bueno que están aquí, no nomás viendo con su persona la nueva escuela, Jose Joe May Elementary School. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not only my pleasure on behalf of the mayor and the Dallas City Council to be before you, but a proud representative of this area, this neighborhood. Not only as a council member or as a mayor pro tem, but as soon as I walked in this position, we made sure that we started talking and continuing that conversation for this to become a reality. For Joe, for the family, but especially for the children. That Joe fought every day, every time that he was in the community for those children that needed not only the space, but also the education and the comfort to be able to feel that they are. And as you remember, there was a conversation and there was a bond and there was some money and was supposed to have been done a long time ago. But we won't talk about that, but we'll remember. We've got to remember. We've got to remember what we fight for. We've got to make sure that it makes it happen, that it gets to be done. Eventually, Burnett is a little bit more spacey, and now the Jose Joe May School is also more spacey for our children. Que tengan la oportunidad de enfocarse en la educación y no que si cabemos o no cabemos. So it's my pleasure not only to be here to thank everyone, but continue to tell the parents, hay que continuar de participar, continuar de abogar por las criaturas, por los niños, por las mujeres especialmente, porque siempre nos olvidan cada vez en cuando. But we remember that we are here to do what? And that is to serve our children, to take care of. And for us as council members, we work very hard to provide a better quality of life for our constituency, which is to provide education, to provide the streets, the access, etc. And not to mention, ladies and gentlemen, to provide safety with our men and women in uniform. If you have a chance, pray for them, because they're the ones that are working very hard to be able to make Dallas more vibrant. along with everything that's going on in our surrounding area, city, county, and country. But always, as they mentioned in many instances, they remember those that fought for us and those that continue to fight for us like Jose did. And I know I came in the very first day that the doors were open. En los niños dijeron, mira, ahí está mi nombre. Porque vieron el nombre de José. Y hay muchos niños que se llaman José. Pero en el mail le faltó la O, no se crean. So it's important to remember, porque everybody's going to remember that they go to this school. Y como mencionaron en la televisión, esa escuela es nombrada por un héroe que se parece a mí y a ti. Y ese es lo que es inclusive. And so we want to say thank you to the family for all the support that you gave Joe, for all that you helped with to make help Joe to get work done like he did at school board. And as a community servant, he was always in the community at all hours of the day. So muchísimas gracias, que Dios me los bendiga, and remember, students, no se den por vencidos. Keep on striving, because one of these days, not only are you going to be part of the Army or the Navy or the Air Force, but you're also going to be in these positions that we have today. Because one, there's term limits for some of us, and two, there's an opportunity for all of us. Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you, Monica, for your leadership and insight. We hope you'll visit again and again to encourage our students. We have our week where we have I just forgot the word, but career week, yes, so we'll call you for that. And now it's time for a treat. In just a few short weeks since school began, our teachers have been working with our students, preparing them for this special day. After all, it's not every day you get to participate in the dedication of your school. That's where we're so pleased and proud to have our students be part of today's program. Without further delay, it's my pleasure to introduce to you kindergarten students Milton Rosas and Edgar Gonzalez performing La Mochila Azul under the direction of Ms. Marta Gomez, one of our excellent teacher assistants. Let's give them a big Joe May welcome. Muchísimas gracias, Milton and Edgar. And thank you so much to Ms. Gomez. Let's thank them again. Next, we have a special speaker whose name is famoso in the community. For decades, the name Medrano has meant community and public service, and Mr. Adam Medrano personifies those roles. He not only serves on the Dallas City Council, but was a constant champion for the creation of this school. We owe him a debt of gratitude. Please welcome my friend, Mr. Adam Medrano.
I had to follow Milton and Edgar, right? So that's okay. I can do this. But my eyes teared up when I saw them performing because that's who Joe was fighting for. I knew Joe as a community leader, a great activist in the community that I lived in. Was honored to be able to vote for him. He was a good friend of mine. I see Anna Casey and Ray here, and when they told me or asked me to take over after Joe, I didn't know what I was going to do. I said yes, but I was like, man, I am not going to be able to fill those boots, right? Joe was an amazing man. I actually got to work with him on several campaigns, his own. And that is one of the things he talked about. You know, I actually wasn't assigned to Joe. My brother was. I was kind of nervous and scared of Joe. But I didn't want him to yell at me. But definitely, we learned a lot from him about our campaigns and what we had to do to win, right? What we had to do. But one of the most important things that I saw in Joe and my grandfather, Pancho, and Ray and Anna, and what they taught me, and Rolando, and I see our former city council member, Ricardo Medrano, and former school board member, Robert Medrano, is that you always put the community first. And that's the main thing that Joe did and what he taught me. You always put them first. You're going to put the kids first. He was not afraid, like you said, to do the unpopular thing, whether that was, and one of the main students that he focused on was our LEP kids. He was very, very passionate about them, was going to make sure that they were able to get a great education. And I want to thank school board members that I served with. I see Dr. Edwin Flores and Dr. Lou Blackburn for submitting Joe's name and getting that unanimous vote for us to name it after him. And after that, yeah, it was a tough ride trying to get this school built. We had some rough bumps in the road, and I want to thank Elizabeth Jones for your help. Thank you. Also, I left in 2013, and it wasn't done. And one of the first things that I told your current school board trustee, Miguel, is you got to finish Joe May. We had to get it done. It's been too long, and I'm excited to be here, excited to be part of the community. This is an amazing school. The first time I met Joe, I'll tell you a little story before I go, is he rolls up, and I don't remember if it was a Cadillac, a dark black Cadillac, whatever it was. He rolls up to 2346 Douglas, which was my late grandfather's home. And he gets out of the car, and I see this guy, and he's suiting some boots, and another guy's with him. And the other guy, it was a big figure at the time. I was in mid-20s. It was Honorable Ron Price. So those two guys were going to speak to my grandfather. I went over there, no telling what they were talking about. Who were we going to try to get elected next, or talking about different strategies for what Joe was trying to do. But I had the honor and privilege of working with him. I see John Lowe's is here. John Lowe's was a friend of his as well. I really would like to, I know this is off script, but invite my friend and someone who really, really loved Joe. And to say just a few words about Joe and the kind of person he was, but she loved Joe with all her heart, and I want to bring Anna Casey up here. Anna, I know if you can just come up here and say something about our friend who you loved so much, and I know you have to come up here. Anna was the one that was like, when I got elected, she's like, we got to get a school for Joe. You've got to get a school for Joe. So I want to thank Dr. Flores and Dr. Blackburn again for that. And I want to, you loved your friend. He was our friend. I want you to say a few words and what he meant to you.
Well, I'll try to say something without crying because this is such a happy day. Joe is an amazing person. There's no one with more courage, more tenacity, and more willingness to sacrifice for others that I've ever known. I had the privilege of getting to work on his campaign for school board. And I can tell you that it was a selfless act. It was something that he did because he wanted to see better for the children of Dallas, and not something that he did for any ambition. He was the kind of politician that didn't want to be somebody. He wanted to do something. And I'm always proud to have been able to work with him. There's lots of stories I could tell you about him. You know, we called his house the cat house because he probably had, I don't know, John, what did he have, 20 cats? But it was, and you know, he didn't pick them, they picked him. And it was like that for everyone he knew. He was there for them when he needed someone. He's, of course, so very proud of his beautiful sister and his brother and his family. But he treated everyone, he was one of the people that he never met a person that wasn't his friend. I remember telling him, Joe, that guy hates you. He can't stand you. He goes, no, he's my friend. You don't know, he's my friend. And he really, truly felt that way with everyone he interacted with. Everyone on the school board was his friend. Everyone that he worked with was his friend. And if he found a person that he couldn't work with, of course, you know, Joe was going to get it done. If you were going to be, he was the believed in lead follower, get out of the way. And you know, he never had any hard feelings for the people he had to push out of the way. They're his friends too, but they're going. And it's an honor to be here today. I know that whether it was Adam or whether it was Miguel, I know that they got tired of me saying, you know, we're going to get that Joe May school, right? Because he would have loved this. He would have loved this place. And for all the children that are here, Joe dared to dream what could be and fought for the impossible and made it possible. And in a lot of ways, this school is like that. The improbable, impossible, here today. And so, dare to dream. That's the most important thing. I know he did. Thank you.
Thank you and congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Adam, for all you and your family have done and continue to do in this service to the community. Hopefully, you've gotten the message that the staff, our students are incredibly proud to be May Mavericks. We feel that we are part of the extended family of Mr. May, which means we're beyond pleased to welcome a real member of the May family. I'm speaking of Eliza May, sister of the late Joe May. Apparently, community service is in the blood of the May family. Ms. Eliza May is actively involved in her Austin community, including serving the Susan G. Komen Foundation and the Greater Austin Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. A graduate of the University of Texas at Austin School of Business and holder of a master's degree in administration and planning, she very much believes in the importance of education. Ms. May, thank you for coming today. We have a memento for you to mark this occasion. I'm going to ask two of my students to come up and present this to you. But please do come up to the stage so that I and my students can make the presentation. And afterward, we'll hear from Mrs. Eliza May. Give her a hand as she comes up.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Felipe Rodriguez. I am a 5th grade Maverick here at Jome Elementary. Mr. Rivera is such a great principal. Excuse me. Such a great principal. Such a great principal that my grandmother and I followed him from his former school. One thing you may not know about Mr. Rivera is that he's also an illustrator. I am here to present the May family with a portrait of Joe that he illustrated.
That is beautiful. Just gorgeous. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Buenos días. ¿Cómo están hoy? ¿Están listos para aprender? Qué bueno. Y para servir su comunidad cuando crezcan, ¿ok? Good morning, everyone. I actually have what is, I believe, a relatively short speech, a very short thank you. But I'm purposely going to try to read it slow because I think what I have in here is really impactful to everything that has already been said earlier today. And I do not plan to repeat things. But I hope that I kind of hit it home with really everything that has been said and bringing it to full circle. And just on the side, because I thought about doing this anyway, but I'm going to do it early now so I don't forget. Superintendent Hinojosa, I think it is incredible that you came back and that you are presiding over this. And I think that's a godsend. Thank you for joining us again in the Dallas Independent School District. So, let me proceed. To the Dallas Independent School Board, to former school board members, Elizabeth Jones, thank you for being here. It's obvious that you had a whole lot to do with making today possible. And to, of course, our distinguished guest, parents, students of the Jome Elementary School, it is with great honor that the May family joins you today for the dedication of the Jose Jome Elementary School. We are humbled beyond words. On behalf of our deceased parents, Dolores and Gilberto May, our brother Gilbert and his wife Maribel, our sisters Dolores May and Cecilia May Moreno, her husband Sammy, our extended families, and finally my husband Tracy Kelly and myself, we want to express our sincere and heartfelt gratitude to you for bestowing this honor to our brother Joe May. The naming of the Joe May Elementary School establishes the foundation for Joe's legacy as a community champion in the Dallas and for Hispanics in Dallas. Much has been said and artfully written in various resolutions from county and legislative leaders about Joe's service to his country as a Vietnam veteran and his contributions to the city of Dallas and especially the Latino community. Probably the only thing that is yet left to be said, and perhaps the most important thing to say, is a very simple thank you to many individuals who made Joe's advocacy efforts meaningful and life impactful. Joe did not earn this recognition alone. We recognize it. You heard from so many other leaders that were part of this effort with him through the years, through the decades. All of you have a big role in this. Many of you here today played critical roles which allowed him to move forward the Hispanic agenda on various fronts and ultimately enabling the advancement of Hispanics in Dallas today. I think many of you who have toiled in the trenches with him can actually say that is true. To all of you who know and to all of, and many of you who are here, you know who you are. Worked side by side with Joe year after year, decade from decade. So the naming of the Joe May Elementary School is a validation of your community vision, your work, your influence, and is honored and respected today. This is all about you. It's not as much about Joe as much as it is about you and your own efforts. Congratulations to all of you as well. Joe loved his family and his community and was a passionate advocate for all of us. This is why it is noteworthy to acknowledge that as a community, you are now returning this love by recognizing him and his work today. We are so grateful to you for that. To Principal Israel Rivera and your staff, the future of Joe May's legacy and the future of Dallas is in your hands and in the tiny little hands of the little performers that we had here and everybody else that's out here that you're teaching. You guys are the future and you guys will get to shape it. It is indeed a bold declaration, but I'll tell you, it is as bold as a person whose name bears this school. I think you already know a whole lot about him and would agree to that. You have the opportunity to shape the destiny of every child who walks through these doors of the Joe May Elementary School. Equally important, you have the opportunity to role model for parents your expectations of their children's performance and their possible success in the public school system. And I do underscore public school system. Seize the opportunity. Live your school's motto. Joe May is leading the way. Lead the way in student performance and parent engagement in DISD. That is what Joe would expect. He would expect nothing else. Please make him proud. Gracias.
Words cannot express how excited we are to meet you and other members of the May family. Thank you for those warm words and encouragement and for sharing your memories of Joe. Our last speaker of the day is Larry Zerby, Director of Design for Dallas ISD Construction Services. He and his team have shouldered the responsibility for all the 2008 bond projects from new schools like ours to renovations and additions all across Dallas ISD. He's here to share some of the special features of our building. Welcome, Mr. Zerby.
Thank you very much. Good morning. It's a rare honor and privilege to get to tell you about this beautiful new building. First of all, I need to recognize it takes a lot of people to build a building like this. So I'm going to try to recognize some key players in this work. First of all, I'd like to recognize any members of the Bond Advisory Committee. Bob, please stand up. Elizabeth Jones is here. She's on our Bond Advisory Committee. Are there any other members here? Okay. Our DISD project administrator, Mr. Brian Johnson. Brian, stand up. Our project management firm, AECOM, Mr. David Daly and Mr. Zephyr Syed. Okay. Our architect, Camargo and Copeland, Miriam Camargo, and Roberto Diaz. Brilliant. I think they did a beautiful job on this school. So it's like our general contractor, Ratcliffe Constructors, under the direction of Mr. Max Young. With us today, we have Scott Tricka and David Martin, who was there at the back. I'd like to give a special thanks to our DISD Maintenance Division for a lot of their help on this project. Also want to thank DISD Communications, Tony Cordova, Lawana Porter, and Tiffany Blackman Jones that did a beautiful job with organizing this event and putting the decorations, that sort of thing you see before you. Joe May Elementary School is a beautiful school. It's a $20.8 million project. It's 98,000 plus square feet. It accommodates 900 plus students, pre-K through 5. And it's relief for Burnett just to our north and Saldivar just to our south. It has 41 core classrooms. This school serves as a kind of a new model because we have a heavy emphasis on early childhood, so we have 4 additional early childhood classrooms in the building. We have an art classroom, a music classroom, computer labs, science labs, this large multi-purpose room, which kind of represents our new approach toward auditoriums because it allows you to have flexible use of the space. Cafeteria, and then there's some really nifty separate playgrounds out there for the various age group. The school was beautifully designed to complement, as mentioned earlier, Pancho Medrano across the street, and you get a nice overall campus feeling in this area of the neighborhood. It was designed in accordance with the Texas Collaborative for High Performance Schools, commonly called CHIPS, which are standards for sustainability and energy efficiency, so that DSD can be a good steward of the taxpayer dollars and natural resources. It features geothermal heating and cooling, which saves us roughly 30% on our energy bills. It's got highly reflected roofing. It's got extensive use of natural light, energy efficient lighting, insulated windows, recycled materials in things such as metal, flooring, carpeting, plastics, and that sort of thing. And then landscaping was done to conserve water by using indigenous landscaping species. As Dr. Hinojosa mentioned earlier, this school marks the completion of the 2008 program, so it's a milestone. And it serves as a shining example of the new schools to come in the 2015 program, which are just now under design. We are very proud of this school and hope it will serve the DISD students for many years to come. So we are very proud of this school. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Zerby, for your devotion to the building, for being the best of the best. Dallas IEZ students, we're proud of the building. Our last student performance will be a performance of our school song, written specially for this day. Our music director, Amanda Meyer, I was gave her a task to create the song, and she took it on, and it's beautiful. You'll see in a minute. Ms. Meyer, take it away. Thank you, Ms. Meyer, and students for your work in preparing for today's program. I'd also like to thank those who were instrumental in helping to open Joe May Elementary. My awesome staff, Mrs. Crystal Castillo, my office manager, and Ms. Maria Rosa Torres, my CRC, my assistant principal, Mr. Hugo Avila, and my instructional coaches, Juan Basan, Lorraine Ramos, and Fernando Rubio. In addition, a special thank you to the Chief of Schools, Ms. Stephanie Elizalde, and Deputy Chief Israel Cordero for always believing in me and always being there to support me. Last but not least, our Executive Director, he was our interim, Mr. Mark Ramirez, and now our new Executive Director, Ms. Angie Torres, who's already been at work helping us get everything going. A huge thank to everyone for the help I've received. To all our speakers, friends, and family, thank you for being here to shine light on the importance, an important legacy of Jose Joe May. As school leader, I pledge to keep alive and share with our students his proud legacy of service and compassion. My personal goal is to serve as a positive role model for our students, and I too hope to become a mighty maverick like Joe May. Before you leave today, please join us for a reception and a brief tour of our wonderful facility. Our dedication ceremony is adjourned.